least that it's documented that we need to do it 24 hours, even though it's in the right to know law. It's nice to have it duplicated in other places.
So I can put in accordance with New
Yeah,
Hampshire,
like
like I
I
did
did.
in this sentence before.
I think if it's an emergency meeting, something that's unexpected, you need to get the group together, you have to do it 24 hours ahead.
Yeah.
Not for a regularly scheduled
Yeah.
meeting. These are-
Right. I can't foresee any circumstances.
When I was looking
that
at-
an emergency.
Oops, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
When I was looking at the right to know law, it did say it's gotta be posted in 2 places.
Right,
I'm
so,
trying to know, where else
well,
would we
so the
post it?
website counts as one place.
Yeah.
So in the library world, I posted in the building and I also posted at the municipal center. So I'm hoping, is there someplace they can post meetings in this building? Because that's
Ah.
There's that little placard up
Yeah.
front by
Right
the
here in the
elevator, is that?
Yes,
on
so we
Forest?
always, it's not 24 hours in notice, though, that's usually done the night before. But normally, like at the legislature, they're posted in the elevators and those kinds of things.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
just needs to be posted some public place at least 24 hours ahead of time.
yeah, we certainly can
If,
find a location.
if you post it in the journal, the,
Oh,
House Journal.
That would probably work too.
Oh, it
Yeah,
is, I'm
they-
sorry,
they
it is
used to
posted
be.
there. It's our
Yeah, it
release.
used
I
to
mean,
be.
I send a meeting reminder to everyone here and also to
Well, the purpose of the posting is so anybody in the public can see it.
Well,
But I
The
I
journal
apologize,
is
the
open.
journal actually
The
does do
journal.
that.
So the
Yeah.
journal would be the second
Yeah.
place,
Yeah.
yes, okay.
Yeah, I was like, well, I know we've been doing this, but, yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna put that in here. Common practice is that it's posted on the HEAC website and in the
Journal.
journal.
House
The
Journal.
House Journal, okay.
I don't know if it's in the Senate
We
Journal.
do, get a Senate.
House and Senate Journal.
Do we know how that, just for those of you that have served for a long time here, do we know how the legislature actually gets the information about the meetings? Do they just pull it off our, you said it.
They
shouldn't
either
be-
pull it off the DOE website, but I have the Senate and House clerks on the list that gets the meeting.
Okay.
There you go, that's
That's
fine,
how-
okay.
Who do you report for the Senate? Because I get the calendar every week, every Friday for the
Okay.
following week. And very often they will have meetings beyond that week listed.
Mhm.
All right, and the meeting reminders go out, you know, when I have a chance to
Several
send them
times.
out, but I mean, I'm not gonna be doing them anymore, that would be George.
Yeah, yeah.
So they go right now to the Senate clerk and to yourself, because you're the Senate representative, and to the House clerk.
I'll get it
and to
on the,
you, and to
Yeah.
Cordell.
when I get the printout from the calendar.
I don't know that it looks like in my current email list, there's not, they had been there, doesn't look like they are currently, so they may not have received the past
Huh.
two unless they received them from the.
That's all
I know
right,
that I've
they
seen,
were
because
on
during the
there.
legislative session, or actually
Yeah.
starting now through the legislative session,
Yeah,
we follow all of the journals very closely to make sure we're where we're supposed to be as far as DOE staff is
Yeah.
concerned. And I've seen it many, many times in there, so, we can just find out how they get that information, just to make sure that it is. I know it's been in there in the past, I'm just not sure how clever they are at getting it. So, they use their resources well.
Mr. Chair,
Sorry.
Pardon?
I have a question on the number 2, quorum. A
Yes.
quorum of 6 members and a quorum must be present to start a meeting. I don't think that's right. Must be present when a vote is taken, other than on a motion, because I've never been to any meeting, but it wasn't a quorum, but they still didn't have a meeting.
Mhm.
They just didn't take any votes.
Right, no, we can't take a vote.
So I don't think
without a
you can
quorum.
say that we don't have enough people, so we can't start a meeting. You can still have a meeting and discuss things.
Well, it's
You don't
not,
take any.
It's not technically a
meeting,
meeting.
under the law, it's not a meeting if there's no quorum. It only becomes a meeting if there is a
But
quorum.
doesn't the home education law actually say that a quorum isn't necessary for that?
It says a full council is not necessary
Right.
for the
Oh,
conduct
does
of
it use the
business.
word quorum?
Yeah.
That's why it's
It
confusing.
doesn't use the
Yeah, so
word
that if we
quorum.
have empty seats on the council, we can still meet,
Yeah.
Of course.
yeah.
Yeah, that was what I was gonna point out, there's wording that should say a quorum is half the filled seats. Because if we have empty seats, then we would never have a quorum if it just says 6.
No, well,
A majority of the people present.
Right, if there's only 10 seats, then we need 5.
Right. I was
We-
sitting at a state meeting the other day and they had 6 people and a couple of non-voting members, and they said, well, why can't we have 6? If we have 3 people, why can't we vote? He said, you can't, because if you have a group of 18 people, that's not right
No.
to have a quorum of 3 and conduct business. That's gonna affect everybody else, so.
Right, so if it's worded, you know, half of the voting members, somehow
Okay.
excluding vacant seats. I don't know how, I'm not good.
Yeah.
with
No,
that.
we brought that up last
That-
year.
That was what I brought up when I started here, cause I was like, how can we have a quorum if there's no empty seats? And I was told by Barrett that, didn't matter,
Really.
yeah,
You had looked into it also,
yeah, so,
and you can't ignore the empty seats, unfortunately.
yeah, I asked a
Because
lawyer.
that had been at one point, I brought that up too, I said, well, you know, there's
Right,
only
right.
10 people on the council right
Well,
now.
that does encourage full membership.
Yeah, definitely encourage, and,
And I like having the number in there because sometimes I forget what a
Mhm.
quorum is, and if it's right in here,
Yeah, so
I know that.
I appreciate that too, when I'm gathering.
Do you want me to ask the lawyer about
Yes.
the wording of
Yeah,
it?
asking, sometimes you'll get a different answer from a different lawyer.
I'll ask. I'll ask
Yeah,
our
that
lawyer.
would be wonderful.
Okay.
This is slightly off topic, but it's not really. How do we word when people want to come on HEAC that attendance should happen unless there's a family emergency? Like, how do you?
Well, we're all volunteers, so.
Oh.
Right, but I'm
But
just
you-
saying, you
No.
know.
Amy there is something that Amy wrote up that, you know, says if someone's nominated, considering nomination to HEAC, that it should be clear that they're expected to attend the meetings. The other thing I wanted to bring up with the quorum is the quorum is 6 voting members, because we have 3 non-voting members.
Yeah,
And not that you're unimportant, because the fact that you guys are here is very important.
No, but it's
Listen in.
tough because we have had session on
Yeah.
Thursdays this
Right.
year. And so it was tough to get
To
here.
get here, yeah.
Right.
But the quorum has to be 6 voting members, not just 6 total
Right,
members.
right,
Okay.
yeah.
Yep.
So that needs to be inserted.
6
in there.
voting members, okay.
And we can talk, like we did last time. People were here, and since people were here, it's really useful to be able to talk about some things. We can't make any decisions,
Right.
because without a quorum, you can't make decisions.
Right, but if next time somebody is not able to be here, at least we've heard their opinion on the
Yes,
matter.
that was why I wanted to do that, because it happens often that someone can come on a particular month, and then they're not there the following month. So if we hear what they have to say, we can still talk about things, and we can think about what we talked about, which is useful. We just can't decide things without a quorum.
That's right.
Cara brought this. Is it a meeting? Did you see that?
Yes, yeah.
So it's, we don't have to talk
So,
about it today,
yeah,
but it's
so-
definitely something that we should
but what George is
discuss.
saying is that you could determine, I think, actually, this is the other thing that should go in there. How long do we wait before we decide there's not a quorum? I was thinking last month I was like 30 minutes, but I just like made that up in my head, that it was 30
Professionals only
minutes.
get 15.
Really? So, how long should we wait at a meeting before we decide there's not a
Well,
quorum?
I don't wanna put a
You don't
number
wanna
in
put it
there
in there?
because
Okay.
sometimes someone's planning on coming and they're running late, real
Okay.
late because of who knows what.
Okay.
And if we have a number, that means we have to stop it. We
Right,
just-
but this says a quorum must be present to start a meeting.
Yeah,
Okay,
Right.
I
so,
will argue with that.
So then it's not a meeting if you don't have a quorum.
right, so how long are you gonna wait before you make that decision? Cause I was ready to leave after 30
Yes,
minutes
right.
last
Right.
month.
Yeah, and I think that's what.
But then you add, a quorum is not required to continue a meeting.
right.
So you
You
say
just
one,
can't-
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's a little bit,
it's not clear.
you can't take any votes when,
No.
if someone leaves, there's no more votes to be taken. You can't make any more decisions.
That's right.
You can keep talking,
Right.
but in a sense, it's not a meeting. You're right, Senator.
But if you say, you have to have a quorum, must be present to start a meeting, and then further down you say, a quorum is not required to continue a meeting, it doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense to me.
Probably,
But that's how it is in the legislature. I mean, you have an executive committee.
Yeah.
And as long as everybody's there or there's a quorum to start the executive committee, they can start. And then people could leave one at a time, and then you can't vote after that,
That's right.
but you could still,
You can't vote,
Continue.
but you can still continue the
Yeah.
meeting, yeah.
You know what, maybe the solution, it's technical, but maybe the solution is, okay, so when the last person who makes a quorum leaves, the meeting has to be adjourned. But you can still keep talking, there's no more meeting,
The
But
official meeting would
the
be.
official
I see what
meeting
you're
is
saying. You
adjourned.
adjourn the meeting, but you still continue chit chat.
Right.
Okay, well, I will ask our lawyer about it
Yeah.
and see what I can find out.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to get people off track again here.
No, that's not off track.
Yeah, it seems to me though, if we're meeting and we're talking about HEAC things, that's still a meeting.
No, absolutely not. If you look
Official
at
meeting.
this, it's perfectly clear. If no decisions are made, you got a group together, it's not a meeting. Especially, I mean,
Yeah, but
if
this
there's a
one right
quorum, if there's a quorum, that's different.
Right,
But if there's no quorum,
right here, yeah. Are there sequential communications involving a quorum? No, there's no meeting.
so what you're saying is, if 5 people show up, we can't talk.
No, I'm saying if we do, there should be minutes.
No, minutes reflect decisions taken. You have to have a motion and a second, and then a vote. Well, if you can't vote, the minutes are, you could take notes, but it's not minutes, and you're not
So
required to
that's
take
what I did
notes.
last time, is I
Yeah.
took short notes, I listed who was here, who was in the audience, the general topics, but I didn't take minutes in the same way that I do it officially.
I've been at meetings before, may I speak?
Yeah,
I had at meetings before when a quorum no longer was present, and we stated that in the minutes, that there is no longer a quorum, but discussion is continuing, and these are the issues that were, and then continue the notes, and by that time, most people will say, okay, we're done, we're out of here, but those last few minutes of conversation should be in the record, that,
But if there's not a quorum at all, like during the last meeting, when we just sat around and kind of chatted, and there was no actual meeting, because there was never a quorum, then there's no legal notes, because there's no legal meeting. It's just, there's no legal minutes. There are private notes, there are personal notes, there are notes that people take, but it's not actually minutes.
I still think that even if you don't have a quorum, you still have a meeting, you don't take a vote, you can still write down, following people were present, there was not a quorum, but the group discussed the following,
yeah,
then, just something.
Yeah,
I would
right,
too,
but they're
just
not
for
considered to be minutes
transparency.
legally.
Right.
no, I
Yeah.
suppose we could do that,
Yeah.
it's not,
And that's what I did last time, and
Yeah.
I think I shared it with this group, and I think I sent, I don't know if it's been posted. I
Unofficial
haven't posted.
minutes or something,
Yeah.
I didn't
discussion.
receive them.
Okay, maybe I just sent them to you.
I didn't
But
get
that, I'm 400 emails behind right
I got it.
I will search for your name.
Well, I can send them to everybody right now on my phone, maybe, if I have them on my phone. But yeah, I did that, that's exactly what I did, last time.
What's your name?
Cara Barlow, I'm the secretary.
I've got something from you.
Yes, I've talked to you on the phone, I called you and pestered you on the phone.
I remember, okay, I recognize the name, but.
Yeah, yeah. So hopefully.
Kara, I'll look and just, and if it's something that,
Okay, I might have sent, Ellie, do you remember? Because I thought I sent it to you
I'm
and
just pretty
Heather.
sure that we had and it indicated they weren't official.
Yeah, it said, I said
So
there's
that's
no
why I
quorum
assumed
and
they
I
wouldn't
did
be
everything
posted
that
because they're not
everybody's
official.
describing actually on it. And then I linked to the videotape of George's presentation in it too.
I mean, on the website, we can be clear that these, where it has minutes, so we have the meeting dates, and you can click on that and the minutes will come up. We can have Lori just post, no quorum was
She already did.
attained. She already did it, yeah. Go to our website, Kara, might be right there.
Oh, it's
I
up.
believe that came up because there was a question and so Lori did put up there was no forum because that's been,
And then did she
Listed
post
there
the
before.
notes? Did she post the notes?
I'm not sure whether she posted.
Okay,
it.
so if that's what this, we weren't posting them because we knew that they weren't official minutes.
Okay.
But if we wanna just post the notes that you
Here
said,
they are, I can just forward them to everybody.
that's no problem at all, we could do that, absolutely. We'll just put on there that these are
Okay.
unofficial.
Meeting notes.
Okay.
And I have no objection to doing that. I was just pointing out that it's not required. It's not a
Right.
meeting, there are no decisions taken. The law does not require minutes, because they're not minutes.
You're right.
But if the group wants to do that, that's fine by me. I
Just
have no problem doing
transparency,
it.
that's
you know,
all.
Yeah.
But you
But,
know, there are a lot of meetings where you don't take a vote on anything.
mhm. So there's no, in a sense,
Yes,
there's
there
no
are
minutes.
The board is
You know.
meeting and they're discussing certain things, but there's nothing that needs to be voted on.
Well, the things I've read over the years, the minutes need to have who was there.
Right.
That's always part of the minutes, who was there. And any decisions that we're taking, any votes that we're taking
Right.
have to be recorded. But that's the only things that, is there anything else
That are required to be in the minutes.
that are required to be in the minutes?
But I'm on the planning board and there are a lot of times we have meetings and we discuss and we listen to public comments. But there's nothing that we need to take a vote on. And yet,
Right.
we have minutes, we have a meeting, we have the commencement of the meeting and an adjournment of the meeting.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, I understand.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying the law requires that if you have a meeting, and it defines what a meeting is, and you have to have minutes, and what the minutes have to record is not discussion, but votes taken. That's the only thing that's required to be in the minutes. Now, there are places, there are organizations that do it, that put more in there than that, but what's required
It's very little.
is very little.
Right.
But I'm not, and like I said, I have no objection to informal notes being posted. If that's appropriate, I don't think there's anything that prevents us from doing that. It's fine by me if that's what the group